And Srila Prabhupada is explaining here how she served her husband. And the example is given just as Bhavani serves Lord Shiva. So we could think, how does Bhavani serve Lord Shiva? And because we're here in Mayapur, Navadvipa, actually we are quite close to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva has many pastimes with Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And I find this is a beautiful connection for us as we aspire to develop devotional service through the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We know in Navadvipa there is Rudradvipa, and Rudradvipa is known for Mahaprabhu showering his mercy on Lord Shiva. Actually, Shankaracharya, who is Lord Shiva, he came here, and in Rudradvipa he had this dream of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was Radha Krishna Nahiyanya, the Supreme Lord, and Radharani, his internal energy, combined the most precious darshan, the most beautiful form of the Lord, the most merciful form, appeared to Shankaracharya, who was busy preaching we could say he had a difficult service. Sometimes we might think we have a difficult service. But here, the Lord's dear devotee has to preach to deviate people from the Lord's devotional service. So we see in that it's not about personal consideration that satisfies the Lord, the service we may like, we may not like. And Shankaracharya did this actually extremely expertly. So he gets this darshan of Mahaprabhu, and what happened in this dream? Actually, he explained that what you're doing should not really come in Navadvipa. This is a special region. You have your service, but please don't bring that here. It's explained that those who oppose the Lord's devotees will be affected by this Mayavad impersonalism, this covered Buddhism. But please don't bring that in this special dham, this most merciful dham. And so this is one example of Mahaprabhu showering his mercy. Every day, we're here in the dham, and we really have to, I think, keep focused on where we are and not get distracted by so many things which can make life easier, more comfortable. But here we see the real mercy is exhibited. We know also Vishnu Swami, he also met Lord Shiva here in Rudradvipa, and he blessed him with a boon. Lord Shiva said, "I'm so pleased by your worship, ask for any boon." And Vishnu Swami asked that they could start a sampradaya. So doing this, this was mercifully granted. As we know, this is the Rudra Sampradaya. And then Vishnu Swami actually also did this Gora Bhajan and got the darshan of Lord Chaitanya. So we see throughout books like Navadvipa Mahatmya, this intense worship of Mahaprabhu yields fruit, it yields result. Now, how does Bhavani serve Lord Shiva? Well, Bhavani, Parvati, she also has pastimes in Navadvipa. We know, does anyone know which dvip? Yes, Simanta Dvip. Parvati, she saw her husband dancing, chanting like a madman, chanting Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. So we see Lord Shiva, he has such a very quite complex tattva. He's very, we could say, pervasive in our philosophy in the universe. And he gets to worship Lord Chaitanya also. And that's explained, that was in Satya Yuga, he was worshipping Lord Chaitanya. And in this ecstasy of worshipping Mahaprabhu, which we have the fortune to do every single day, we stand right before Lord Chaitanya, and in the evening the Gaura Arti is chanted. Such beautiful, precious moments to meditate on this Lord who wants to have that personal relationship with us. Should we be open to it? So in Simantadvipa, Parvati, she sees her husband chanting and she's asking, who is this golden Lord? So her heart starts melting by hearing the name of Gauranga. And she says that actually all these mantras and tantras that we do, it just brings misery. So Shiva actually explains to her position that actually you are this energy of Radharani. And he says, I'll tell you the crown jewel of truths. I wonder what is the crown jewel of truths. There's many truths, you know. Param Satyam Dhimahi. We're meant to meditate on the absolute truth. And what is the crown jewel of truths? He says, during Kali Yuga, Krishna will take the heart of Radha and appear in Mayapur in the womb of Sachi Devi. This is the crown jewel of truths. Maddened by his pastimes of kirtan, Lord Gaudamani will distribute the jewel of divine love without judging its recipients. So she says, remembering this promise, actually Lord Shiva says, remembering this promise, I float in divine love. My heart has lost its composure. I have thus left Kashi. So Kashi Tyag, Lord Shiva leaves Kashi to come stay in Mayapur, worship Mahaprabhu. I will stay in a hut on the bank of the Ganga in Mayapur and worship Lord Gauranga. And we see so many acharyas did like this. Wherever they were doing their bhajan, many came to Mayapur, understanding this is the topmost dham, the topmost chance to get the highest mercy. But they were very focused. They were extremely intense in their bhajan. So we get a lot of lessons. Hearing these words, Parvati comes to Simantadvipa. She meditates on this form of Gauranga, chanting the Gauranam. She experiences this divine love. So we want to continually ask ourselves, how does this work? How does that how can that divine love come into our heart? She receives a beautiful darshan of Gauranga, who explains that actually you are present eternally as Purnamasi, Vrindavan, and as Pradua Maiha, here in the Dham. So she remains here, and we know she took the dust of Mahaprabhu and put on her head. So here we have a nice example how Parvati, she was following in the footsteps of her husband, and the husband was doing this intense worship, intense bhajan. So in the purport we're getting the emphasis the women are meant to devotedly serve the husband. So it might be possible to spend a lot of time how the women should be so devoted and chaste, and this is their duty. But we see the other side also, that what are the men doing? How the men should be. The duty for the men to be very intensely engaged in bhakti, and that completing the cycle. They're receiving assistance to deepen their devotional service. So we don't always want to be pointing the finger at others, what others should be doing. We should think, what should we be doing? And here we're getting examples how this intense devotional worship actually is most desirable in Navadvipa. There's other pastimes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he actually meets with Lord Shiva and his wife, who are disguised, or they're in the dress of Brahmins. I saw this actually downstairs. There's a beautiful relief exhibit in the kind of shop just in the right next to the temple. And I saw this pastime of Mahaprabhu conversing with Lord Shiva. And I couldn't remember, where is this from? I don't remember this pastime, but it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita in South India. Lord Shiva and his wife Durga, they live in the dress of Brahmins, and they see Lord Chaitanya actually. And Lord Shiva, dressed as a Brahmin, he gives alms to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, invites him to spend 3 days in a solitary place where they talk very confidentially. So we can only imagine what kind of discussions between Mahaprabhu and Lord Shiva. If we could hear these discussions, how much purified we would become, and hopefully that taste would come by hearing such great devotees. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido. That pure katha has the potency to awaken this attraction that we're looking for. We're looking for that personal attraction. So that's another beautiful pastime of Shiva and his wife getting the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu often glorified the position of Lord Shiva. And also Parvati. We see other pastimes in Bhagavatam where her husband is blasphemed by Daksha, and how much chastity, and she is unwilling to tolerate this to the extreme. So we have this example also. So there's, of course, many deep points here about this nature, but I would like to also focus on chastity in the deeper and bigger context of devotional chastity. And we are endeavoring to all become extremely chaste to our Lord, to the real master, the real husband of Krishna. So there's pastimes even of Lord Shiva in Vrindavan, and I felt like it's very important to also discuss Vrindavan, because this is our highest aspiration. If we don't hear about it, we hear about so many other things. There's no shortage of vibrations going on. Shrotavya dini rajendra ninam santi sahasrasha. Yes, that there's many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. So many things are there, but how much time are we just hearing about Krishna directly? It's very important. And we study the Bhagavatam every day, and the Bhagavatam is telling us that Dharma svanostita pungsang vishvakshena katasaya notpadaya yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Unless it's generating a taste, what is the use? So sometimes we have to ask ourselves, I'm doing so many things. How much is my taste increasing? And therefore, Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantastohi Badani Vidinosi Suhritsatam. Krishna cleanses the heart of the one who's developed the urge to hear his message. How much eager are we to hear about Krishna? This is our work. So also this principle of ananya bhakti, we could say chastity, like unwavering. We can look the opposite. Unchaste means you go somewhere else. Chastity means you're very loyal, very faithful. So Krishna is our everything, actually, our Lord and Master, our life and soul. Are we going to Him, or where are we going? What is pulling us away? Why are we not interested so much in hearing about the Lord? We saw the great devotees, they're really absorbed. They don't want to do something else. Like there's nothing better. There's nothing superior. There's no superior happiness than connecting with Krishna, our Lord Chaitanya. So how is it we find so many other things that seem to give us pleasure? Yeah, we're sick. We have this disease. And therefore hearing about Vrindavan is a very important medicine to revitalize us, actually, to awaken us. So we see in Vrindavan this chastity of devotees, the pure devotees in Vrindavan. This is the highest example of chastity we see. The highest of the highest, the gopis. Apparently they went out in the night, they apparently performed some adharmic activity, but we understand this is actually the highest dharma. This is the highest chastity, the gopis. And what happened? Krishna played his flute, and Krishna is playing his flute. He's calling all of us. The gopis showed they were very eager to go to Krishna. I don't know how eager we are to go to Krishna. It's not so easy. It's not so easy, There's many attachments. We have things in this world we think are very important. I'm not sure, should I go to Krishna? If we were there, we'd be thinking, Krishna's playing the flute. Yeah, but what about this? They didn't have that problem. They went immediately. Even they were doing so many activities, cooking. When you're cooking, you're pretty focused. What to speak if you're taking care of a baby? And others, maybe they can relate. If you're taking care, breastfeeding your baby. But they heard the flute. Okay, put the baby down. Not even thinking twice. Baby, my child, put the child down. So it's incredible. And they run out. They were trying to decorate themselves for Krishna's pleasure, but they couldn't even properly do this. So they go and finally they see Krishna, and Krishna tells them, you should just go back home. But they're not willing to leave Krishna's association. They've passed through so many tests. There's different types of gopis. Some are eternally perfect, and some also develop that position. So think for those sadhaka, siddha, who are after so many lifetimes of tests and challenges trying to develop Krishna consciousness, they got that opportunity. So it's very inspiring. And then also in Ras Leela, after they have the association of Krishna, Krishna again leaves. Krishna leaves them, and what is their mood? They're not going to go somewhere else. They've given their heart completely to the Lord. Such beautiful examples of this principle, and very nourishing. And of the highest of all, Srimati Radharani. She's there when Uddhava visits Vrindavan. The residents of Vrindavan were completely distraught. Krishna had left. It's this very actually devastation that hits Vrindavan. And when Uddhava comes, he starts talking about Krishna's position. And the gopis, Radharani, they say, don't talk to us about jnana, knowledge. We're not interested in that. And Uddhava even praises them. We're not interested in being praised. So by that intense attachment, then there's no other taste. There's no other attraction. That's the higher taste. Param drishva nivartate. By the power of that attraction to Krishna, then the lower taste is overcome. So this is the procedure. Other examples we have are Nanda and Yashoda. In parental love, Mother Yashoda, she chastises, she scolds Krishna. She cannot conceive of him as the Supreme Personality. So this type of, we could say, nishtha or one-pointedness we see throughout the residents of Vrindavan. And the cowherd boys, they cannot even stand a moment if Krishna goes behind one tree branch. They go in complete anxiety. So this is another example. The cowherd men themselves, they have the mood to protect Krishna. That Krishna is in danger, he needs our support. This is how their love comes out. So sometimes in the early demons of Krishna Leela, Trinavarta carries Krishna away, and the Gopas start running after. We will protect him. In Govardhan Leela, Krishna raises Govardhan hill, and the cowherd men, they hold up their sticks. Krishna is just a young boy. He might get a little tired. He hasn't eaten so much. Let's help him out. And even when Kaliya captures Krishna in his coils, what happens? Nanda Maharaj, he enters the water. Yashoda is too distraught. Nanda Maharaj, he just enters the water right away. So how much love, how worshipable this is. They are worshipable ideals. And we know that actually worship of the devotee is higher than worship of the Lord. Mad Bhaktya Pujabdika, to worship the devotees. So we worship Krishna, we worship Mahaprabhu, and we worship the devotees actually. Krishna says, worship of my devotee, that's actually better than worship of me. Because the devotee is carrying that love, pure devotion. There's other beautiful one passages of the Krishna book that always touch my heart is the queens of Dwaraka, when they're remembering Krishna's association. It's saying sometimes at night they can't sleep because they're remembering their activities with the Lord. And they give these beautiful descriptions I'll just read one. They say, "Dear Kurari bird, now it is very late. Everyone is sleeping. The whole world is now calm and peaceful. At this time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sleeping, although his knowledge is undisturbed by any circumstance. Then why are you not sleeping? Why are you lamenting like this throughout the whole night? Dear friend, is it that you are also attracted by the lotus eyes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by his sweet smiling and attractive words, exactly as we are? Do those dealings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead pinch your heart as they do ours?" So such fortunate, such beautiful examples of devotion. And there's many more. They talk about the ocean. Why are you roaring all night, etc. So there's an interesting point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes about these high levels of devotion and 3 specific qualities of this kind of ruchi. And I just read them for purification by serving our great acharyas. One is Bhagavat Prapti Abhilas. Bhagavat Prapti. Intense desire for the attainment of Sri Krishna. Anukulya Abhilas, desire to do that which is favorable to Krishna. And Soharda Abhilas, the desire to serve the Lord with affection. So the devotees have intense desires. We are not impersonal, we're not stones. We cannot live just by negation, don't do. We have to somehow or other, by the Lord's mercy, develop some intense desires. We were hearing yesterday, those who have life can preach. And what is that life? It's that desire. So we don't reject desire. We cannot live without desire. We are beings of desire. We just have to transform our desire, intensify our desire. And that's what makes the difference between the conditioned state and the liberated state. Here they have intense desires to attain Krishna, to do that which is favorable for Krishna, and to serve the Lord with affection. It says not just serving the Lord, but serving the Lord with affection. The mood, the service is the opportunity to invest the mood. If the mood is not there, we're not getting the full benefit, So we didn't quite get to Lord Chaitanya yet. There's many examples in Lord Chaitanya's Leela also of this principle. And just one of my favorites is Jagadananda Pandit, who had so much love for Lord Chaitanya. We can see this chastity of Jagadananda Pandit towards Mahaprabhu. We may remember one time in Vrindavan, he went to Vrindavan and he saw Sanatana Goswami who was wearing this red cloth, which usually is worn by Durga worshippers or different sampradaya. And he became furious. And Sanatana, some other sannyasi gave us, he said, how could you do that? How could you wear something other than what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would give? So he has this obsession with Lord Chaitanya. If you'll allow me, I'll just read a few of his very moving statements. He says, "Oh, my dear Lord Gauranga, I am deprived of the association of your lotus feet because I wish to go to Vrindavan. I cannot continue to live without seeing you. I do not know what I should do presently. Those lovely reddish lotus feet of Lord Gauranga are my most treasured object. Alas, I'm so foolish I left them behind. Now I cannot see them, as they tenderly leave their impression on the sands of Purushottam Kshetra. I do not know the reason for my coming here. It is only my restless mind that must fly about like a loose bird. I'm losing my heart in this confusion. I want to relinquish my life for Lord Gauranga, yet death escapes me." And he explains, "I cannot bear even a moment separation from the Lord, because my beloved Lord Gaurasundar always dances in the chamber of my heart. He does not allow me to end my life, and if I remain alive, then we constantly quarrel with each other. I don't know what can sustain my life. Whoever's been captivated by Lord Gauranga's love is in deep waters, a precarious situation where there's a tug of war." So, yeah, what can we say? This is a very special devotee of the Lord who in Krishna Lila is Satyabhama. So exhibiting such pure dedication, one-pointed, Eka Vrat, Eka Nishta. And here in Mahaprabhu's Lila, he comes as Jagadananda Pandit, the same mood. He didn't give up. The same mood is coming out. So ultimately we are chaste, we are aspiring to be chaste to Krishna, to Lord Chaitanya, ultimately to Srila Prabhupada as well. And this, I feel, is being very nicely presented here in Mayapur. And this month also we are remembering Srila Prabhupada's instructions to spread this knowledge, and we're trying to be chaste to serving Srila Prabhupada by distributing this knowledge, which I'll just conclude with a final example. And that is, as you all know, Tava Katamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvikrantiye Buridajana. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune, even so much good fortune. I mean, that's one way to put, but such powerful, incredible good fortune. Obviously what Prabhupada says is perfect, but what is this good fortune? It's this priceless opportunity. So they bestow this good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. So that's from the gopis. They're glorifying, amazing. Those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent, amazing. So we have that opportunity. And so many ways to serve Lord Chaitanya's mission, Srila Prabhupada's mission. So I will thank you all, great devotees, for your time and kind attention, and see if there's any questions or comments. Okay, Guru.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, bro, for the class. Bro, how do we respond to the testing situations?
The testing?
Testing situations. How do we respond?
Can you explain what you mean?
Question, Prabhu, that how do we respond to the testing situations?
How do we respond to the testing situations? But
means, suppose we are put into the situation where so much confusion is there, and what we should do, what we should not do. It becomes very difficult to decide.
yes, Maya is always testing us. Wherever there's opportunity for mercy, I find Maya is very strong right at that time. So if you're getting tested, that means there's a great opportunity. And Maya is testing us. So what to do? The only answer I can give you is that we call out. We just pray at that moment. Don't try to solve it with your mind or with anything else. The Lord hears our prayers. The Lord here is very powerful. Lord Nrsingadev, here in Mayapur, Lord Nrsingadev, he can easily destroy all our problems. But sometimes we forget to pray. So that testing is a time where we have to bring the mind back to Krishna, humbly call out to Vaishnavas, Guru, deity, the Lord, the form of the Lord which inspires you and protects you and saves you, that we try to serve. So that's what I would recommend in tests. There will be tests. There's always tests. Every moment is a test. Some tests are stronger, but this is a very helpful suggestion I can give you on that question, unless anyone else, senior Vaishnavas, would like to also comment. They're welcome. Or if anyone else wants to ask, share anything. Yes, Prabhu. Oh, yes, Prabhu.
First of all, thank you for the class. I may have misunderstood. I thought early in the class, you had said something like Lord Chaitanya, Shankaracharya met Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
So, and then you also gave another Leela of Lord Shiva in a totally different yuga chanting the names of Lord Gauranga.
Yes.
So, since neither of those are in any of Prabhupada books, where would we, I'm not saying this to challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Part of our museum is about Maheshtam.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I hear anyone talking about Lord Shiva that I haven't read, I want to know where it's from.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. These are both recounted in Sri Navadvipa Dham Mahatmya by Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
That's the source.
Yes, this is a very, very useful guide because Nityananda Prabhu takes Jiva Goswami on Parikram, and it's one of my favorite books. It explains all of the islands of Navadvip and different pastimes that happened there.
Well, I can understand anything's possible with Lord Shiva because he is not a living entity. I mean, he's Lord Shiva. But Shankaracharya is mentioned in that text, that book, but he lived 700-800 years before Lord Chaitanya appeared. So
Yes.
again, maybe something happened that they could meet, but
Yes.
in terms of like a historical line, they couldn't have met.
Many of these experiences are Mahaprabhu appearing, not necessarily when he was walking on this earth, but he often appears as a revelation, a darshan.
That's
So
different.
he gave
Thank
his
you.
darshan.
That-
Thank you.
That's a good explanation.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I was trying to highlight these because this text is mentioning how Bhavani serves Lord Shiva. So I just felt inspired and went a little in that direction of Shiva and Parvati as we're in Mayapur with the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu.
Pranam Prabhu, thank you for the class. Prabhu, you had mentioned that Vishnu Swami desired to have a sampradaya, the name of Rudra. Is there any information in the Shastras, the timeline when this happened? Is it as old, is Rudra Sampradaya as old as Brahma Matuka Sampradaya? Or also, just to add another question, is there any information in the Shastras, with this timeline of the four Sampradayas, which you started, I mean, how old is each?
Right, so
Thank
we
you.
have in the Shastra that there's 4 sampradayas, authorized sampradayas, Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi and Kumaras. As far as when their origin is, well, Brahma starts the Brahma Sampradaya. Of course, these are later on revolutionized or propagated by acharyas like Vishnu Swami, Madhvacharya. But the Brahma Sampradaya begins with Lord Brahma. He is the founder, Acharya, we say Stamstapak, or the founder of our Sampradaya is actually Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, we're talking the beginning of the creation. That's the best I can do because Lord Shiva also, of course Lord Shiva manifests after Brahma in terms of creation. The 4 Kumaras, sons of Brahma, Shiva also son of Brahma, and Lakshmi being the eternal consort. Unfortunately, I cannot provide dates, but let's focus how ancient they are, how actually practically eternal these sampradayas are, because we cannot really fathom how long creation has been. Therefore, this Shastra is mentioning that these are the authorized sampradayas because they have this antiquity, they have this authenticity coming from the time of creation. And then they are, I would say, revitalized by different acharyas, for example, Madhvacharya. But yeah, that's how I would answer that. Anyone else likes to, they can also. In the back of Srivas Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Could you share the reference of the story of Jagannatha Pandit in Vrindavan?
Yes, this is in Prema Vivarta. It's a whole book by Jagadananda Pandit, We have a few different translations. My favorite is Kushakrata Prabhu, and there's also Banu Swami. Very nice, and they're available in this bookstore right here. Prema Vivarta. Sorry? As far as I recall, I could be wrong. It could be someone else, but yes, if anyone is looking for a special dose of mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it's said that whoever gets the association of Jagatananda Pandit feels like they have the direct association of Lord Chaitanya. So this is an amazing book of his effusions of divine love. Prema Vivarta. It means transformations of prema or love.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. My doubt is, like you said, devotional purity of a woman. So how a devotionally pure woman is different from materially pure women? Like they both are surrendered to a husband. So how the qualities can be different? And if they are different, obviously they are, but then how, being a practitioner devotee, I can help a material Mataji to be a surrendered devotional servant of her husband?
Yeah, so Prabhupada here is emphasizing this role, this dharmic role of the wife to serve the husband. Now, Bhakti, Prabhupada emphasizes it's for everyone. So, regardless of one's position in ashram, one's body, everyone should take to devotional service and worship the Lord and chant Hare Krishna. So we want to actually propagate service, devotional service to everyone. The social construct, the social model that takes us through, as we're still conditioned, the support of Varnashram Dharma to help facilitate and deepen the devotion, that it becomes useful to the degree that our devotion develops. If someone is not a devotee, they will benefit by following Dharma. So we can encourage them to follow dharmic principles like Varnashram, like serving the husband. Ultimately, we want to teach everyone to engage in bhakti yoga, in devotional service. So I would rather encourage people how to take up devotion and start chanting or reading, and gradually help them develop connection with devotional service, Srila Prabhupada. And in that way, automatically, they're receiving a higher benefit. Many people may not be ready to do that. So Varnashram is a kind of system to help gradually elevate them. So we encourage them to follow their social position, but at the same time we encourage them to chant Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Haribol. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Thank you for the class. I had a question about when you said that like service to the devotees is more pleasing to Krishna than like service of himself. So my question was that I can't really think of a good situation right now to compare, but I'll give a crude example. Like if you had a devotee as a guest at your house, and maybe you are like about to offer bhoga to Krishna, and let's say they needed something like water or something, what would you prioritize? Like do the bhoga quickly and then serve the devotee, or just serve the devotee and then delay like a little of Krishna's bhoga and then you do the bhoga?
Yeah, that's a great question, and actually that's mentioned, the importance of receiving guests, especially an exalted devotee. So specifically we have for an exalted devotee, like a great soul, if they come to your house, even you can stop the arti and go receive them. That's proper. Because we have to try to understand the heart of Krishna. If Krishna is so much in love with his devotee, and he's pleased when our devotee is respected. Now generally when a guest comes to the temple, we don't stop the arti. We don't give them the Raj Bhog. So they're welcome, and we have a facility to welcome them. But when we're on the altar and we're absorbed, it's also mentioned you should not break worship. So we should not stop once we're worshiping the Lord for anything. As far as we can see, one should not stop the worship, interrupt the worship. That becomes an offense because we're standing right with Krishna. So it said, when we can do that is for a great devotee. The other devotees, they're welcome to come, take darshan, be purified. They can take charnamrita, and there'll be so many places they can take nice prasad. We'll be happy to serve them after the arti is over. Yes.
Within ISKCON, great devotees would not want any artik to stop just because they walk into someone's house. Rather, they don't just pop into someone's house. They are invited. It's a specific time, and that household plans for that time. So it may be that they could delay an artik, or maybe not, depending on the type of deities they have in their home. But a great devotee, and I use this phrase, great devotee, I don't know, Prabhupada's a great devotee. Everyone else is just I don't know what else is. But senior devotees would never want any puja for Krishna being stopped on their account. So I just wanted to be very clear about that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Mayapur Dham